Harmonies are so much fun to mess around with. And if done right, they can do a great job of enhancing a main vocal and a vocal performance as a whole. In today's episode, we're going to be importing some harmony tracks, and we're going to use a combination of auto-tune, EQ, and panning and other effects to help our main vocal pop even more than it already does. Let's go behind the board.
All right, y'all, welcome to another episode of Behind the Board, episode 7, part 5 of my production basics series. One thing before we get started here, in the last episode I put the auto-tune software in the bus here, so it would go to both the breakdown section and the lead vocal. Just so we're clear, do not do that. The buses are only used for certain effects like your compressors, your reverbs, your EQ, that kind of thing, not for auto-tune, because auto-tune can only take one incoming pitch signal at a time, and it was taking in more than one, causing the auto-tune to act weird. And I did not notice that until I listened to episode 6 off camera, so I went ahead and fixed that. So that's just a little side note. Don't put every single effect in your bus. Only put your effects you're going to be using for every single track that's in your bus, like a compressor, and your time-based effects. Anything but auto-tune. Anything that doesn't have to deal with pitch correction. Alright, so in today's episode, we are talking about harmony tracks. So, we have a lot to cover. This is going to be a bit of a lengthier episode, so let's go ahead and take our harmony tracks here. Let's go to episode 7. And let's go to... Actually, just going to do this one at a time here, just to make it a little bit easier. Let's go ahead and add the harmony. We just move this all the way to the beginning. So we take our harmony. There we go. Now I'm just going to solo off the lead vocal and the harmony. But before we do, let's go ahead and add some effects to the harmony track. I'm just going to go ahead and move this down in the rack so it's at the bottom. Don't know why the harmony track's muted. It's kind of weird. Should not be muted in the rack.
Light is keep me where the light is.
Alright, so go ahead and go right about here.
Twice as much.
That is way too loud. First of all, we're just going to add some of the regular effects we've been adding here, like our auto-tune software here, and a compressor. Just going to do that, turn the threshold down a little bit. To do E major, except we have a couple more notes that we are using here. If you don't want to take the time to figure out every single note you're hitting, just go to chromatic. But I touched up on this in episode 2 of Behind the Board when I mentioned pitch shifting versus auto-tune. Pitch shifting is used for smaller little phrases like this here. So technically we don't even need the auto-tune. So in order to remove the auto-tune, just click on it and hit backspace or delete on your keyboard. Should pull up delete device. Yes, we want to delete device. Only use the compressor here.
Twice as much. It ain't twice as good.
Alright.
And can't sustain like one half could.
That's really loud. We want the harmony to blend in smoothly with the main vocal, and it is not. First of all, let me just fix it with the mixer here. So the panning is fine. I just want FX send. Try and have the FX sends match. So just go over here, look at the volume. It's negative 25.91. Just try and get them to match here. Have to move your mouse very, very lightly. So now the reverb should be set.
Can't sustain like one half could.
Even though since this is a main harmony, we can actually add this into our bus here. That would make the effects easier. So let's go to the main vocals here. I'm gonna move this over. Now I can turn this FX send off since all the FX sends are there, and now the harmony is going to get the same effects as the main vocals.
Twice as much.
No, just turn this
It
down.
ain't twice as good, and can't sustain like one half could. It's wanting more, twice as much. It ain't twice as good,
Turn this up a tad.
and can't sustain like one half could.
There we go. Now, so that harmony track is fixed. Let's go ahead and look over this part here.
Twice as much, ain't twice as good.
There we go. Sounds good. Just gonna move the harmony track up above this. That's just for a preference thing. Alright, so now we're done with that. We have one harmony track done. It blends in smoothly with the lead vocal, and we put it in our main vocal bus consisting of these three, since these are all a part of the main vocal. So now let's go into this part here. Let's go into the ooh section. So I'm gonna shift left click on ooh 1 to ooh 3. It's going to pull up all three of these. As usual, drag and drop at the bottom of the screen. It should put in all three. Yes, it does. Sweet, we got a nice green color as well. Just gonna go ahead and make a bus for these. I don't like how the way this is affecting how my mixer looks, so I'm just gonna move these over here. So I'm going to create a new bus for the ooze. I'm literally going to call it ooze. So let's do that new output bus here. Let's move this to the end. Change the color because it's a dark color. I want it to be a little lighter. There we go. Let's call it ooze. There we go. Now we should have all three of these here. I'm going to solo off all of these, and let's just shift click on these two, right click, so we can route these two to the ooze as well. This is why buses are very, very important. So now I'm just going to mute every other bus we have just so we can hear the ooze, because there's something really cool that I'm going to show you guys how to do once we figure out levels. Should we get into that in just a second? I'm not going to be working on levels yet because I'm going to be showing you guys how to pan it. So we take the bottom here, or just take one of them and have it be normal pan, and then one all the way to the left or all the way to the right, or like just have them even. It's like want to do negative 65 for one, we would do positive 65 for the other. But let's just go all the way so we can have that stereo field sound. And then it's basically a levels preference after that. Just getting everything to blend. So let's go here, see how this sounds. I'm going to change the panning so I have 50 instead of 100. Or if we wanted this quote choir to be similar, we can just right click on these to here and literally go in and reset all these if I can do so. I guess I have to go individually and do it. That's alright. So let's go to reset all channel settings. I'm going to do this for the third ooh as well. Since it is a choir, we're assuming this choir is all going to be together. So what that means is we can just pan the bus here one way or another. So if we pan it all to the right, and let me just go back to my sequencer window just so I can make sure we're on the right place. The panning is a preference. If you wanted to leave this in the middle, you could. So like if I wanted to do that, here's how it would sound in the middle. And it's just a preference thing at that point when it comes to levels. And this is where you want to use speakers as well as headphones for this. Let's go take our ooze bus, move it down a little bit. My rack's getting a little unorganized here. I don't like that, but we can live with that. Let's go and add a compressor to all three of these. Take the threshold down just so we can have a better overall sound here. Let's go to the end, hear what this sounds like for the end here. See now, turn everything up.
It's working against me. Working against me.
And there we go. So now we have the ooze done. It sounds pretty good. Once again, we can go in here and reorganize the rack. I'm just doing this just because I like my rack organized. What can I say? Alright, one last part for this harmony. And we are working with the breakdown here. So let's go back into our file here. Breakdown 2 and breakdown 3. Shift left click. So I can go to these two. Pull up our sequencer window. Go back to the very beginning. This is the keep me where section. There we go. And now these should go. That was really, really easy. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and set them in the rack. Move these two down. Below right here. Alright. And now I have these as well. Move these over. And everything's getting really full. But that's alright. So we're going to go to the keep me where section. I personally want to have this opposite of where the choir is. So if the choir is panned to the right at 47, we want this to be panned to the left at 47. So we're going to do that in just a minute. See if we can shift left click here, go to route 2. Let's create a new output bus. Go to breakdown. That's where these two are now routed to. And now I'm just going to do the same thing. Turn my FX send on. Preferably have these similar to what the vocal was. So the vocal is at 2591. This is at 2889. $23.23 is good enough. Alright, and so now I'm just going to go ahead and pan this so we can go ahead and have some effects here. This is panned positive 47, so this one needs to be negative 47. Negative just meaning to the left. That's not going to affect anything. Negative 47, perfect. Alright, so I'm just going to solo this mute everything else here. So theoretically we should only be able to hear the keep me wheres.
Keep me where? Keep me where?
So we have
Keep me where?
an auto-tune thing we can work on here. This.
Keep me where? Keep me where? Keep me where?
Or
Keep me
since this
where?
is a smaller section, we can just go into pitch shifting. But first, for this whole section, we want to add a compressor, because compressors just overall make our life so much easier. Go and do that, turn the threshold down some.
Keep me where?
And then I'm going to go and tune this. Just go into our pitch shift window here. All of this, let's just go and highlight all of it. Correct it all. Should all be G's or close to G. So I can go here and just turn down the drift. See what we come up with.
Keep me where?
Perfect.
Keep me where?
Now, if you don't need to use auto-tune for your main vocal, don't. But for harmonies, they are more crucial, just because if you mess up one harmony, the entire thing is messed up. I talked about this in pitch shifting auto-tune. I'm gonna once again mention it. Harmonies need to be fluid and very much in tune.
Keep me where?
That's what's crazy about a acapella group like Pentatonics, like Home Free, like Voice Play, because their harmonies are so good. And they might use autotune. I don't know, can't confirm or deny this, but it's amazing what they do, how fluid their harmonies are regardless. So let's go back to our sequencer window, our mix window, and let's take a listen to these.
Keep me where? Keep me where? Me where? Keep me where?
Where is the...
Keep me where? Just keep me where the light is. Keep me where?
Alright, that sounds good.
Come on, keep me where the light is. Keep me where?
Alright,
Just keep me where the
see how
light
that's
is.
sounding.
Keep me where?
Now we have our master section. We
Just
can lower
keep
this
me
down if we want.
where? Keep me where the light is.
How you would typically go about a master is bounce the mix, meaning save it all as one document, and then just go back in and fiddle with stuff that way. But we've worked around our harmony tracks. We blended them nicely. That there's no technical thing you have to do there. It's just listening and evaluating according to how many parts you have, what parts you want to pop, that kind of thing. The harmonies were not meant to overshadow the vocal. They were meant to complement the vocal, and they did just that. And so let's go and listen to the last thing. Let's go back to the Keep Me Where section.
Keep me where? Just keep me where the light is. Keep me where?
Wait for the harmonies
Just
to kick
keep
in.
me where the
Here
light
comes
is.
second.
Keep me where?
Nice.
Just keep me where the light is.
It's not overshadowing the main vocal, which is the point of harmonies. It's just complementing it, which is exactly what I wanted. Third's gonna kick in.
Keep me where?
Perfect.
Just keep me where?
Well, guys, we did it. I know this was a longer episode. Thank you guys for sticking with it. And a huge shout out to Christopher for not only recommending this episode, but recommending this entire Production Basics series. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did recording it. And I'll catch you guys later for another episode of Behind the Board.
Working against me.
See you guys next time.